Volcanic rocks possess a variety of structures. North of Plover Cove, well-bedded strata form a prominent escarpment of the Pak Sin Lang Range. Pak Sin Lang Range is an outstanding ridgeline. This geomorphological feature extends for many kilometers and is characterized by several prominent summits and a steeply cliffed southern face. Shallow soils and sparse vegetation give rise to erosion. More spectacular erosion can be seen at Bride's Pool, where a river has cut a steep valley through the escarpment. A band of resistant rock has formed an impressive waterfall. Under the shadow of the Pak Sin Lang peaks are preserved some of the few valuable remnants of the oldest rocks of Hong Kong. These are sedimentary rocks that were deposited by seasonal streams that drained a former mountain range to the north. Periodic floods brought down pebbles and gravel that eventually became conglomerates. The pen is pointing at one of these ancient rounded quartz pebbles that is cemented in the finer materials of the river's lode. Over time, the mountains were eroded away and slower streams deposited a thick sequence of banded sediments on the top of this coarse material. These rock types occur along the north shore of the Tolo Channel. Other isolated examples of Devonian sedimentary rocks occur scattered around the region, including the buried marble under the Yuen Long Plain. These rocks are the only remains of the landscape that existed before the volcanic activity began. Perhaps the best place to study the geology of Hong Kong is at the coastline, where the sea has exposed the structure of the rocks.
One of the characteristics of volcanic rocks are their great variety. In some areas we have very massive, thick sequences. In other areas we have very complex sequences, finely banded. If we look at the rocks in this area, just on the coast here, the rocks are finely banded and also broken up by many joints into small blocks. Weathering has affected these by leaching out the iron minerals, concentrated in the joints in between the blocks, and then later weathering has taken out the intervening blocks, leaving the iron-stained joints upstanding. We can see many examples of this over this outcrop in front of me here. In many places around the coastline of Hong Kong, the sea has taken advantages of joint plains or bands of weaker rock to form caves. The sea preferentially erodes out these weak zones and forms hollows either as slots or, as in this case, a tube in a band of weak rock.
During the period of volcanic activity in Hong Kong, large magma chambers accumulated several hundred meters below the surface. This magma later cooled to form granite. Today, granite is exposed to over 28% of the region. Most of the highly populated urban areas of Hong Kong are built on granite. In fact, about 65% of Hong Kong's 7 million people live on granite. The distinctive scenery of Lime Rock Country Park and the Kowloon Peninsula are fine examples of granite landscapes.
Behind me here is an exposure of the typical Kowloon medium grain granite. This locality is just above Kowloon, below Lion Rock, on the Sha-Tin Pass Road. We know from very accurate dating that this rock was formed about 139 million years ago. When it was formed, it cooled slowly quite deep below the Earth's surface. We believe it had a cover of something like 2 kilometers of rock above it. As this cover of rock eroded away, it exposed this granite to the agents of weathering, to the atmosphere. The heat, the cold, the water affected this granite, deteriorated it, weathered it. So what we have here is weathered granite. The junction between the weathered granite and the fresher granite is very, very abrupt, just over a few millimeters. The weathered granite above us is very weak, very physically decayed, but within it are a few remnants of the original harder rock. These are known as core stones and can be seen in the slope above me.
The characteristic elements of weathered granite profiles, a soft, crumbly matrix surrounding hard, round, resistant core stones, can be seen throughout Kowloon. Cut slopes that occur behind housing estates, beside roads and surrounding the former hills of Kowloon expose these profiles.